You gotta accentuate the positive, eliminate the negative, latch on to the affirmative, and don't mess with Mr. In Between. You gotta spread joy up to the maximum, bring gloom down to the minimum, have faith or pandemonium's liable to walk upon the scene. Accentuate the positive and eliminate the negative, and latch on to the affirmative, and don't mess with Mr. In Between.
My name's Adam, and I've spent the last 20 years of my career leading, growing, and building companies and teams for lasting impact. It would be my honor to come alongside you and help you to do the same thing. Whether it's in the corporate world, a brand new small business startup, or a 100-year-old family business, I've seen it and I've led it. Starting with defining your purpose beyond profit, we unlock strategies across every part of your business so that we can arrive at what I call asymmetric endurance, allowing you to get your time back while the business continues to grow, succeed, and achieve its true purpose. If you're ready to build an unbreakable business, let's talk. Book 15 minutes with me today at kingdommindsetstrategies.com.
Hey, 3, 2, 1. Welcome back to Miracles Online podcast. This is a podcast for relationship, dating, and commitments. And we're so glad that you're here with us today. I am Jeff, and this is...
I am Kat, and welcome to episode 25. We are going to talk about online dating versus office romance, and we're calling it Swipe or Speak. But really, have you ever asked yourself the question, would you rather swipe or speak or build a connection in person over time, or maybe a combination of both? We're going to unpack and dive deep into this topic. And why don't you get us started, Jeff?
Well, I would say for myself, let's talk about the benefits of both. One, online dating, of course, is that you have way more choices than the people in your office. Unless you're working on, a building that's full of 1,000 people or something.
Absolutely.
The other counterpart is when you're in office romance or an opportunity to date somebody from the office, you get to see them, touch them, feel them.
Well, maybe not touch, feel. You might have a sexual assault case there.
So maybe that's.
But you've got the water cooler experience, right? If you will.
Well, yeah, that's right.
And you can observe them from afar.
Yeah.
So, and we're going to play devil's advocate here, doing the pros and the cons.
Yeah.
Or maybe you're in a job where you don't have a water cooler. There's so many different potentialities out there for the workplace.
Yeah.
But obviously, it's in person. That you're have that person. Potential romance.
Again, office romance. We're talking about going to work with an office. It's a little bit different. Let's say if you're working at a place that serves the public, like Starbucks or Walmart, where you see
or you're
customers.
A contractor.
So we're going to just kind of talk about the dynamics of going to see a bunch of people every day in an office in that respect, because that dynamic is much different than. Let's say, I see this cute guy coming in my drive-through every day, and today I slipped him a note. That's a little bit different.
So, again, this is not to advocate one or the other. Really, just pointing out.
Well, I'm going to advocate one.
The differences. Well, of course, we know because we met online 27 years ago.
Yeah.
But obviously, life is a numbers game. They say sales is a numbers game. Life is a numbers game, really. And the pool of opportunity through the digital world, of course, is exponential, in terms of, how many people you can actually reach right? Or potentially connect with.
Well, that's one thing, before we dived into this episode, I kind of gave a search and looked through what's all available today in online dating and what's all going on. And of course, I work with Seven, my AI assistant, and Seven compiled me a list of it. And what interesting that I really found that I'm going to kind of give you an idea. Match.com, the website that you and I met on,
Right.
is still running strong.
It was number one. It's
it's
still
still number one.
I think Tinder has maybe surpassed it
But
in today's.
Well, I was going to say that interesting thing about Match.com is it pulls up and tells me primarily for age 30 to 55. I was not aware of that. But this, again, is research. It doesn't mean that if you're 22, you shouldn't go to Match.com. Probably not. I mean, that's not what it means. I just think that overall, the maturity of it and just the way the website is set up is driving maybe a certain clientele to it.
And that's the average you have to think of.
Yeah.
Just like when we look at national averages for, homes
Right.
that sell that are staged, it's taking the highest and the lowest. I'm on another screen on my phone, but I had pulled up some stats previous to our show here on the growth of online dating. It is projected to be exponentially, like by 2030, in the billions. The growth rate right now is at about 10-15%, but it's almost doubled in the last 10 years. So if you're not utilizing this, the digital dynamics and wizardry and opportunities of online dating, I would encourage you to look at it.
Yeah.
And we're going to share a letter at the end of the show here, someone who was a little reticent on that.
And also the online dating options not only opens up in regards to the people you maybe connect with, that is just way bigger pool of it, but there's also a whole genre within the genre, like faith-based dating. Like, for instance, if you're a Christian, for instance, if you're Jewish,
there's specialty, right? And our next episode, we're not going to go too deep into that because our next episode is on faith-based dating,
right? But I'm just bringing that up to give you an idea just how vast that online dating can be and what it offers to you. But again, at the same time, if there's still the paradigm of, well, I can't get into doing something that seems to be artificial or seems desperate. I'd just rather meet somebody in person because that's how things has always worked. I met somebody at church, I met somebody at bar, I met somebody at, company picnic, those type of things. And I fully understand that. And if you got to go with your gut, number one, number two is you got to go with what you're comfortable with, because ultimately you have to be honest when you go into meeting someone, possibly developing something. That relationship cannot be, start sketchy from a point of view. One of the things that's what I mean by sketchy is people posting pictures of 40 years ago, 30 years ago, and then go, oh yeah, I gained a few pounds. Yeah, I got a little gray hair, or I lost my hair,
And I think that was more prevalent, some time ago, when there was not so much digital connection in all platforms. You can certainly cross-reference to a multitude or myriad of social platforms and see if someone's photo is, totally photoshopped, or not, going back and forth to 2 or 3 different platforms, not just the dating app.
So you're referring like somebody's social media page or things like that?
Exactly.
Well, again, then that changes the online dating principle, doesn't it? It's no longer than I'm going to a place to just go date. Now I'm kind of almost like going into a chat group, what it used to be, but you're getting more one-on-one personal if you're going into their social media and saying, hey, let's be friends or whatnot, and then start developing a friendship from that.
Absolutely.
That's different than I would say. I'm going scrolling through, swiping.
It's swiping today, right?
And as a matter of fact, funny that Tinder description actually promotes the swiping culture, because obviously they got so much in volume, and everybody's like at Costco sampling, platters. Oh, let me try a little of this. Oh, let me try a little of that.
Sure,
So that's the
they
impression I'm
don't get
getting.
into, and that's why, I wrote the book Miracles Online. It really
Yeah.
is to give a step-by-step kind of a GPS for successful online dating, or at least to
Yeah.
stack the odds in your favor.
Right.
You've heard me say before, and I'll say again that, the chapter on profile, creating a profile,
Mm-hmm.
an authentic profile is key.
Yeah.
And that starts with knowing thyself, really,
Yeah.
and really taking time to sit down and really put on paper and pencil
Right.
what are the things that I absolutely must have,
Right.
called the negotiables and the non-negotiables
Yeah.
in the book, and sticking to that, and not just taking whatever comes in your swipe, or throwing something up on the wall and see what sticks,
Right.
because this is your relationship.
That's right.
That we're talking about, which is important.
Oh, no question. That's why the office romance aspect of it can be fun because, it's always exciting. I would say you're getting up, you're going to work, and not only you're going there because of the job itself, but the fun factor is, I would say, you're excited now, you're enthusiastic because there's someone you're
Gives you a
interested
reason to
in.
go to work. You're gonna
Yeah, I mean,
you're
I'm
gonna
sure
see that
someone.
cute guy at the water cooler, right?
Yeah.
So it can, especially if your job kind of sucks at the moment, and you need some kind of motivation to get up out of bed and make it to work. So that can be exciting.
Mhm.
To me, and I've told you this before, Jeff. I was amazed when I first got that trial through my email.
Mhm.
Because being a single mom for 12 plus years, I found it to be very efficient.
Mhm.
How many dates do you have to go on, in-person dates, before you find out a lot of things
Right.
about the other person? You don't really feel like you have a license to have an inquisition, where online dating, it somewhat gives you the green light, because you're putting down your negotiables, your non-negotiables, what you're looking for, et cetera, and both parties know that it's an interviewing, kind of screening process
Mhm.
to go to the next step. So I found it to be extremely efficient.
Mhm.
Yeah, as opposed to, going to the gym and, for weeks on end and thinking, oh, that guy's really cute, oh, maybe we'll get on
Mhm.
the same, bike one
Right.
time, and strike up a conversation, only to have weeks go by and find out either, you don't have any attraction to them once they open up their mouth, and or they're attached,
Mhm. That's
married,
right. Well, see,
engaged,
and
whatever.
that's where I take the side on the online romance and office romance over compared to your online dating model, because office romance, not only I get to see this person every day, I get to converse in person, I get to see their physical reaction. I can also invite them to lunch, which now I get to know them better.
Mhm.
Now maybe we even plan things like, hey, you want to go get a drink after work?
And that's where
Right.
you maybe start to get in trouble. Now we're talking
Why am I
about
getting in trouble?
HR difficulties.
Well,
We're talking about gossip. We're talking
well,
about
there's definitely
the
that.
leverage, who's a boss, who's not. So that's kind of, that's the flip side of it, that you're going to be entering those kind of territories.
Well, depends, I think, how you carry yourself and how this thing plays out. If you're just flirtatious and so forth and you're offending somebody, then definitely that could become a HR issue,
Exactly.
right? And this
Many
is,
times it has.
yeah, we're at a point at this type of situation where you can't compliment someone on their appearance if they don't want it to be complimented. And if they find you to be offensive, they can report you just because of compliment.
Absolutely.
So what in your mind is just a harmless compliment could become a lethal shot to your career in that employment. So you have to be very aware. You have to be connected with your coworkers and to understand what's all going on. Number two is they need to know who you are. If you're doing this at the romance in the office space thing, you need to kind of show that where is your work ethic? Are you a team player? Are you um, the type of individual that is going to be a company person. In other words, you're not just showing up on time and just clock in and go. And the reason why I say all this, because of that, now your dynamic sits differently in everybody's paradigm. And like back to what you said about the gossip, because I've been through this situation, I can definitely tell you, you take somebody to lunch and somebody that you have an interest in and they have an interest in, next you know, everybody around you in that office is talking about you two and bigger than what had actually happened.
That's called gossip.
Yeah. So do you want this in your life? Because this now could serve two ways. It could be, oh, this is the beginning of a great relationship, and all of a sudden they're happy together and everybody's happy for you. That's the best case scenario. But the other case would be now it becomes a distraction in the office, and the management comes walking down and they're all goofing, laughing. They're, what's all going on here? Wow, so and so and that is hooking up. And management don't want that. Management wants you to be focused and attentive. So if you're the source of the problem of causing distraction, they may have to pull you in and kind of tell you and give you a little slap on the wrist and say, we don't really tolerate this here.
You're jeopardizing your job. And
So
let's talk
keep
about
that in mind.
Let's talk about you've developed a relationship. You've gone through the things that Jeff talked about, and then it ends.
Well, yeah, if it ends, that's really so-called, what would you say, uncomfortable?
Uncomfortable. Yeah.
Can you imagine being a divorced couple and then go, okay, well, just live together? How uncomfortable is that? And I know people do this.
Oh, I know.
I don't understand it. I know I did it one time that I broke up with someone, but we couldn't just move away right away. And it was just, apartment. So we still had to look at each other and so forth.
I can imagine that.
But I could say,
bye-bye.
that from that point on, when I decided that it wasn't going to work anymore, I was the enemy for a while.
Sure.
Until, the pain subsided and she really recognized, okay, it wasn't just me being heartless. As it was put, you're heartless. How can you break up with me? Well, no, because it wasn't working. So in the office dynamic, it's even bigger because especially if they're working with you in your department.
What is that term that you mentioned? You shouldn't.
Oh, the one thing that I've always said.
Something where
you should never crap where you eat.
Crap where you eat. That's
okay.
it.
So in other words, like for instance, you want to date the boss's daughter? A lot of times everybody said, no, if you do that and you screw that up, good luck with all that afterwards. But the upside is if you found your true love and that true love so happens to have a family business, well, good for you. Because if this is your career path, this could be a great match. So you have to really be serious. Number one, focused. Number two, and number three, be on top of everything that you're going to do. In other words, don't just nonchalantly do things because they came your way out of convenience. Example, Christmas parties at work. Don't sit there and start going, I had a few drinks. My inhibition is down now. I finally can confront the secretary that I've been talking to for a year.
So let's talk about that because a lot of people don't realize, and as you know, I was in corporate America, Fortune 100 companies for a decade plus, almost a couple decades. And I've seen the HR issues. I've seen VPs get fired or let go because of sexual harassments during parties. Happened during parties. They were, going to the hotel room or what have you. If you are working in a corporation or company and they have, whatever, whether it's a small party or it's an away party where they're putting up in 5-star hotels, either way, and there is alcohol, be careful.
Yeah. Just
remember, you're still working.
Yeah.
That's not licensed to party, let me go schmooze that secretary or that hot gal or whatever, or that super guy. You're still on company money, company time, and they're watching you. I don't care if they are drinking, because sometimes they do, as I just mentioned. I had a VP get let go because of HR issues going to a gal's room.
I'm not trying to dictate or kind of, be preachy about this, but I do recognize that number one, if you're in a company function, especially like the festive parties, celebratories, holidays or award dinners, have a nice sip of a wine or something and just keep
Or
that.
don't drink.
Yeah.
Have a
Don't,
Perrier.
well, I mean, nobody's going to tell you, because sometimes it is just to be in the social
Just to
circle
loosen
of it.
up. Yeah.
Yeah. Your boss
Yeah,
is
of
finally
course.
letting their quote unquote hair down, right?
If they have
And the
hair.
thing is now, hey, we want to get to know you. Let's shoot the ball, breeze about, I played ball in high school. Oh, you did too, that type of thing. Yeah. But that doesn't mean pound a fistful of beers with it. Okay. So now when you're meeting
Get
somebody
all
you're interested in,
loosey-goosey.
yeah. I mean, the last thing you want to do is, oh, did you see so-and-so making out at the Christmas party? Ooh, that's not good. Okay. And it happens.
Or on the cruise.
Or on
the award cruise.
Wow. Well, so again, those are celebratory situations that sometimes we may lose ourselves in sense of discipline or our just best decision making.
Best decision making.
Right. That's why
Absolutely.
office romance has to be handled with kid glove. It can work. I've seen it work before. I've also seen it fail miserably. And I've done a little bit of it, enough to know that if I had to pick online dating versus dating someone at work, guess what I picked? Online.
Thank you.
Because absolutely.
Good answer. Because we
Absolutely.
didn't meet at work.
No, if she came to her work, she'd be like, God, your desk is cluttered and crappy and
We need to stage it.
I could never go out with you just because of where you put all your stuff.
Good thing I didn't see your desk.
Right.
Huh?
Yeah. So it's very telltale when you see somebody every day too. You see how they handle adversity. Just the aspect of seeing pressure, because work is pressure most of the time. But to see the pressure put on somebody on due date projects or have to have an answer to the problems, you get to see that person. So I can see how you can grow attraction to someone who's a great achiever, hard worker, has all the things that you admire. I definitely recognize that. And I had coworkers that did that made me go, man, I want to get to know you better. Let's go out. Let's still do this. But the thing is, where do you cross that line? All of a sudden it becomes romance. Is it the intimacy or is it that, oh, now we've been doing this for a while and all of a sudden you just feel that it's natural. So be aware of how you're going along with this path. Don't just do it out of the whim. Hey, there's a cute person or there's a good looking guy or there's a pretty girl. However it came out, don't just jump at that infatuation moment because that is sometimes the snake pit that you're not aware of. So pay attention to that.
Gotta pay attention.
Yeah, there's no
to
buffer.
that.
There's no online of going, oh, gee, I shouldn't have said that. Delete, block. There's none of that.
I think the mindset is the most important. The method is not as important as the mindset, whether it's digital dating or in the office, is to really have a clear mindset. And think about these things.
Sure.
These, some of the things we mentioned, you may not have thought about, or maybe you have and you're
right.
rethinking them, or maybe you've had experiences. We'd love to hear your experience.
Right.
Shoot us a comment, shoot us a note, shoot us a letter.
The online aspect of it has, I think, more to offer though. In the things like, for instance, similar interests. I like hiking. Who likes hiking? Let's do a search filter. I like to go to baseball games. Who likes baseball? Let's do a search filter. You don't really do that at work. You don't walk around and go, you're really cute. You're really pretty. I know you work really hard. You like baseball? No. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's
and
it.
Then, so,
it's over.
And so you overlook that. Yeah. Because you're just going by the primal animal. Oh yeah, they're hot. Yeah. The guy's hot. The girl's hot or whatever. Yeah. They have a good work ethic. That's so little in the microcosm of compatibility.
Yeah.
Of, do they possess those negotiables and non-negotiables that I only am seeing a fraction of here in the workplace?
Right. And again, it depends how big your company, your department, and so forth. Just keep this in mind. This is your tip number one. If you are recognized in your company as department in regards to spreadsheets and employee numbers, I would say number one, not date anybody in that system, because that means that you're just a number. You're a worker bee in that system, and they could lose you and replace you in a matter of minutes. So that's my number one.
What? Repeat that, please. I was.
If you work for a company that has spreadsheets, you on spreadsheets, and you're recognized as a number,
Well, I think
that
a
to
lot of
me-
employees are
no,
have an employee number.
I get that,
Jeff.
but look, let me put it this way. In a company that has, let's say, many divisions because it's franchised, or maybe it's just so huge, like big companies like General Electric or something. Okay, that's just a hypothetical. You're such a small piece of that machine that everybody's replaceable. And I think we all know that who's ever.
Well,
worked
I
in
beg
that
to differ
corporate thing.
on that, because I don't think it really. You have to be a Fortune 100.
Well, I'm
I
saying
think you
it
can
from
be
a point.
dispensable in a small company. as
Well, yeah, no
Yeah.
question. But the point being is that I'm saying this to everyone on a generalized point of view, that if you're going to date within that, even though you think that is safe, I work in a big company, and it's not going to cause any factors. Corporate offices in New Jersey, however it plays out, what you got to recognize out of this situation is, because it's such a big company, if any word gets out that you're a distraction, you could be removed pretty quick. So that's very different than, let's say, I worked for a mom and pop company, which is family owned business, and we have maybe about 50 in a company, and we have everyday interaction with at least 35, 40 people of that same core. That is a little bit more forgiving because everybody knows everybody, and the owner knows and cares about his little immediate circle here, opposed to someone who's sitting in a big desk in New York City looking at it going, okay, I'm getting complaints and we're getting this, and you need to go fix that. We don't need a lawsuit.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to play devil's advocate here, because I agree with what you're saying on the larger corporation. However, smaller companies can be very backbiting, if you will, very, very, what am I trying to say? Like gossipy, more, even more gossipy.
Well, I get that
within that small group.
But let's say big
And
company,
intolerable of
big
things
company
like
in your
that.
division, in, let's say, your floor. Okay, this is a big corporation. You work on the 16th floor. Your position in this floor is marketing, creative design for social media and for anything online. So your floor has about 75 people involved. That's pretty much similar click, I would say, to a small company of its entirety. But the difference is the decision-making power isn't in that click. Where a smaller company, the decision-making power often is part of that click, because it's just how small and intimate the business is and how small the company is. My recommendation to that is because people will know you better, so you're not as volatile if you start to thinking, now I'm going to date within this pool, compared to someone who doesn't know you. You offend somebody, then all of a sudden you go to HR with this complaint, and all that is just creating paper trail in a big machine. And when they realize that I have a problem in this machine, that someone is creating a distraction, somebody's causing problems, somebody's making uncomfortable advances to or someone, even up to sexual harassment, just from commenting or complimenting someone in their dress could cause that. And I've seen this. And it's somewhat mind-blowing that we're not as sensitive to it, meaning that people would say things off the top of their head and get thrown to the curb just like that. And it's not just about dating. Sometimes it's just making off-color comments at the wrong time to the wrong person.
Oh, I'm so glad I don't.
It's true. I know that.
So okay, enough about the office stuff. Thanks for sharing that, Jeff.
Good night, everybody.
Let's get back to the topic. And
that was the part of the office.
The office romance versus online dating.
Yes.
And I don't want to really, weight it one way or the other. Of course, you obviously know what we prefer, because that's how
Well done. You've done something that most people.
Sorry. Go ahead.
I think there are more reasons for online dating and more
Right.
possibilities if it's done right. How is that funny?
Well, it's not. So it's just as funny that technology never wants to do what you wanted to do.
Oh, okay. That's okay. That's okay. That's, part of life.
It has to be.
Technology. It has
Yeah.
to be. So if you have something else to say on that, I'm going to go into a letter.
Is it letter time already?
It's
Okay,
letter
so
time. Yep.
well, before we read our letter, just remember, like and subscribe our podcast and share it. I can't stress enough about sharing.
Please
Because-
share.
Yeah, because some of
Sharing is caring.
yeah, absolutely. And sometimes just one little nugget will trigger the inspiration for someone to
Make a difference.
yeah.
Make a difference.
that's what
Something
we're
maybe they're
looking for.
struggling with or
Yeah.
on the fence with or toggling between both and not really thought about some of these things that were brought up today.
Absolutely.
And
And
can
don't
make a
forget
difference.
Miracles Online book. That's about dating online. Your GPS
to online dating.
online dating.
Absolutely.
So tell us, give us the letter today.
Yep. I can do that, Jeff.
Do we need to say heart?
Yeah, I guess it's heart time.
Heart. Much love to my little bear.
I know the audience can't hear it, but
Well, that's okay. We all
Yep.
know. Whenever you see us say heart, it's basically us reminding each other how important we are to each other in our lives.
yeah.
And-
Alexa does that prompting. You can't hear it probably, but we can.
Yeah.
So heart baby.
Heart.
Okay. So, dear Kat, I just finished reading Miracles Online and I had to write you. I'll be honest, when I first picked it up, I wasn't sure it was for me. I've always believed God would orchestrate love naturally, maybe in a church hallway or through a friend of a friend. The idea of online dating felt a little forced, maybe even faithless. But your book opened my heart in a way that I didn't expect. You didn't just offer tips, you told the truth about surrendering, about self-worth, about divine timing and divine nudges, even when they show up in the form of a dating profile. Reading your story gave me permission to let go of the shame I'd carried about, quote, looking for love. It reminded me that I'm not waiting on a person, I'm co-creating with God. And sometimes that means logging in with intention, praying over each connection, and trusting that miracles don't just happen in pews, they happen in pixels too. Thank you for writing something so real, so grounded in faith, and so full of hope. I'm giving it to a friend. Yay. Next, she's been afraid to try anything new. I think your words might be the sign she's been praying for. With deep gratitude and maybe a little more courage, Sarah J. from San Antonio, Texas. P.S. I finally joined Christian Mingle after finishing the last chapter. We'll see what happens, but I already feel something shifting. So here's thank you so much, Sarah, for sharing that with us. And see what happens when you share with others and you leave fear at the door and try something new. New things happen. Endless possibilities await. So I'm really happy for Sarah and wish her the best. Thank you so much for sharing that, Sarah.
Yes. And we want to thank everyone for tuning in. Miracles Online Podcast. You can catch us every week here on riphills.tv. And with that, we're going to play out our sponsor, Kingdom Mindset Strategies.
Kingdom Mindset Strategies.
And then we'll see you back at the next episode of Miracles Online. Right? So here we go.
Will only ever dream about. You've started and kept a business alive, and that's a huge achievement and one you should be proud of. Now, I want to help you make that business unbreakable. My name's Adam, and I've spent the last 20 years of my career leading, growing, and building companies and teams for lasting impact. Whether it's in the corporate world, a brand new small business startup, or a 100-year-old family business, I've seen it and I've led it. And what I've learned is building an unbreakable business often requires similar ingredients: clear financial insights, well-built systems, streamlined growth strategies, and optimized operations. Starting with defining your purpose beyond profit, we unlock strategies across every part of your business so that we can arrive at what I call asymmetric endurance, allowing you to get your time back while the business continues to grow, succeed, and achieve its true purpose. If you're ready to build an unbreakable business, let's talk. Book 15 minutes with me today at kingdommindsetstrategies.com.